You believe all that, like everything the employees were saying was 100% true then?
I had to remove the tape.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they would deliver Model 3s on a diesel. The driver would unload the cars, and I found I found interior door panels that were not held on by anything, no clips, nothing, just tape. I mean, it was a circus.
This week's episode is a little different than anything we've ever done before. This week we actually had the opportunity to sit down with a former Tesla employee that was part of one of the most recent Tesla layoffs and kind of get his take on what it's like to actually work for the company. So he worked for Tesla for about a year, and during that time he transferred jobs 3 different times. He worked in Salt Lake City and he also worked in Seattle, Washington. So his background was in solar and electric motors, and he came to Tesla with about 20 years of sales experience. So he was originally brought on board for the solar division, and then when the Model 3 ramp up happened, he switched over to deliveries, and then he finally ended up in the call center. So he really had the opportunity to see the inner workings of the company and how they operate. A lot of what you're going to hear is going to explain some of the shortcomings that we've heard from customers from Tesla. So please be advised that he remains a huge advocate for Tesla. A lot of what he says might come as a shock to you, but he stands for the mission. He wants this company to succeed. And we have all kind of heard the stories of what it's like to work for Tesla. We know that more is expected out of these employees, and they're doing things that have never been done before. Also, there are always 2 sides to every story, and right now we're just hearing Tyson's side of the story, and we don't know Tesla's side of the story. And also, employees are not always privy to the information the upper management has. So I think all that is important to think about when you're listening to this conversation. Before we jump in, I want to thank our sponsor, Road Comfort Floor Mats. They make some incredibly high quality floor mats for the Model 3. We actually use them in our Model 3, and we love everything about them. They use environmentally friendly elastomer. It is thick and flexible, and also no PVC materials or nasty smells. They also have rave reviews from Tesla owners over on Amazon, so be sure to check them out if you're in the market for floor mats. All right, let's jump into it.
When I was offered the job at Tesla, I mean, my eyes, stars appeared in my eyes, and I was like, this is where I need to be. And so I was very excited. The reality of it is, when they hire you, first thing they tell you is that Tesla is a scrappy company. That's their terminology. So, yeah, I didn't really understand what they meant by scrappy, but I do now. A company has to be profitable, right? And Tesla has not been profitable very much. They're kind of just barely getting into that. And this is what I'm talking about. There's Elon's way, and then there's everybody else's way, and they're kind of hitting each other. Well, when you want to be profitable and you want to make your numbers look good in front of stockholders, what do? You slash. You dump employee salaries, you dump them, and all of a sudden, now you've got a little extra cash and you can show a profit. That's what happens. That's what happened. So
that's a result of trying to look profitable, and probably why he didn't want to be a public company was because of this kind of stuff.
I think that's exactly it. And the long wait times are directly I can coordinate those wait times directly with the number of people who are available to take calls, because you could see an entire department, fill up an entire row of computers and phones on Monday, and then on Tuesday that whole row is empty. I'm a numbers guy. I'm sales. I'm a numbers guy. And frankly, if you cut all your support, then guess what happens? I'll give you a great example here. When I had been transferred over to the call center, the training that I received, I had to do it over the phone and through Skype and through Zoom and things like that. And it really wasn't enough to really give you an idea of what the whole scope of the job was. But I muddled through it, and I continued to ask. I said, hey, can I come out to California just for a day or two and see how things are done? Because there's some of the workflow that I didn't quite understand. And they flew us both out with our new manager. They're gonna launch a new product, is what they were telling us. That's why we're there. They're gonna launch a new product. Well, we go to this meeting where they're talking about Tesla insurance. We come back, and the California team is pulled off into another room, and they're told that they're being let go after 30 days. So they took a 12-person team down to 2. And oh my God, it's just ridiculous. I don't know how they expected me and my colleague to handle the workload ourselves. And so, I mean, it was ridiculous. We got back to Utah. We watched all of our friends who we'd been working with get fired, which was a horrible day. And I came back to Utah and I cried.
It's awful. Do you feel like this is growing pains for the company? Like this is something that is because, they're trying to do something that's never been done before? Do you think that it has to do with that?
How has it not been done before?
Well, an electric car company to this scale.
Electric cars are the first cars on the road. Electric cars are not new. It's not a new invention.
But to this scale, there's never been a mass market.
What's going on is that there is a paradigm shift in that car manufacturers in general are now the bad guys because we have all this scientific proof showing that, burning gasoline, burning hydrocarbons is bad for our environment. And Elon had the right idea, and his mission is not to make electric cars. It's to save the planet. That's why I was on board. That's why I put up with all the crap that they put me through, was because that is the true message. That's what Tesla's about. It's not about making a car. That gets forgot. That gets lost in the whole thing. That gets lost in the price tag of the car. I think I diverged from your question. I'm sorry.
No, but I just was curious if it was growing pains. Like if you felt like this is something that the company is going to be able to kind of figure out, and maybe, as they grow, they'll be able to add people on and not the constant layoffs and firing, and actually have like a team that can handle the amount of work.
Well, I don't know. I still have plenty of friends who still work there, and they tell me it's just getting worse. Most of them are just trying to wait out to get their full year in so that they can get their stock options, and then they're going to leave. It's that bad. So I can't say that I have a good feeling about it. I don't know if Elon can rein it in and get people on board who see his vision, who understand the way that things work, that he wants things to work. because I think he's got a great idea, and I think it could work. But you've got, again, it comes back to, this corporate idea of how, hey, this is how things have to be run for a car company. And then there's Elon saying, no, we can do better than that. And it just, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm hanging on to all the little trophies that I got while I was at Tesla, because I'm afraid that one day that, they're going to be valuable because there's not going to be any Teslas. But I don't know. I don't have a great feeling.
It's interesting. Well, we're obviously huge Tesla supporters. I think that they do make a fantastic products. Their cars are been amazing that we've owned. Best car I've ever driven ever. I've never been a car person until I got into Tesla. And then obviously Elon's mission, he, like you said, he wants to change the world. Like, that's fantastic. I guess it's just getting the right people and changing the organization of the company at this point. So hopefully that's something that they can overcome.
Yeah, I honestly and truly believe that he's doing the right thing, but I'm feeling like my impression is that the pushback that he's getting from people could be the undoing of it. I do love Tesla. I still love the idea. I still love, all those aspects about it. It's just my personal experience with that end of the company was bad.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure everybody has, different experiences, but I have read quite a few things on Glassdoor, and, there was that article, I think on CNBC, that came out about people working in the tent during the Model 3 ramp up. I'm not sure if you read that article.
Yeah, when I was delivering Model 3s, I kind of made the joke that when a car would come in and there were parts missing off of it, I was like, oh, that one came out of the tent.
Yeah, so, and we don't know how much of it is 100% true, how much is not, but it's still like there's these reports out there, so.
Oh, there was a tent.
I believe there's a tent, but they talked about using like electrical tape to like hold parts together, and
that happened.
Cutting corners and
that happened.
So you believe all that, like everything the employees were saying was 100% true then?
I had to remove the tape.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they would deliver Model 3s on a diesel. The driver would unload the cars, hand me the keys, and then I would take the cars down to a parking storage. And then I had a list of customers who were coming in that day, and I had to move the cars down and prep them so that they could be washed. So half of that was me just taking tape off of the car. And I found I found interior door panels that were not held on by anything, no clips, nothing, just tape. I mean, it was a circus. It's true.
So you wouldn't hand over these cars to people in a condition like that, though? At that point,
No.
you would call them and be like, oh, your car's not ready, or wasn't delivered, or make up something?
Well, usually what happens is I was about eight hours ahead of delivery on my prepping, and I like to complete things, so I make sure to push through and get them all done. And so I would line them up for the next day and be at least 8 hours ahead. So they would go from me where I would point out, I would list all the things that needed to be fixed. It would go up to the next area where they would then wash and wax the car and detail it. And part of the detailing would be if they were missing clips, they would get the clips on there and place and put everything together. So basically the factory was having us finish the process because they were trying to push cars out so fast.
Okay. So I guess it was getting done, just not necessarily at the factory where you would assume that it was getting done. But
right, it sounds bad. It looks bad on paper, but it's not as bad as it sounds.
Okay. And I know things have definitely gotten better in terms of some of the issues that people were experienced during that time with the Model 3. You're not seeing the same like panel gaps and paint issues and whatnot.
Yeah.
In the Model 3s that are coming off the line right now.
That's all been streamlined and fixed.
Yeah. So if they can fix those issues, maybe they can fix other issues too. You never know. It almost seems like Elon is magical, so maybe he can use some of those powers and sprinkle them throughout the company.
He's very good. He's very good at identifying problems and then delegating out what needs to be done to repair them.
So there's hope.
I will say there is hope. I hope. I truly do hope. Because it's, I'm 44 years old and I've got 2 little boys, and they're the ones who are gonna have to deal with all the garbage. I mean, I don't want them to do that. I want them to be like, oh yeah, my dad worked for Tesla when he was, and they're driving around in Teslas, Tesla model whatever.
Right. I'm right there with you. So
they have to do better. They have to do better at their vetting processes. I would say 1 out of 10 employees is exceptional at Tesla. 1 out of 10 is exceptional. I would say 50% of them are good employees that are that are there because of the mission. And then the other 50% are, and there's 25% of them that are just there for a paycheck. And then this is just my suspicion. And this is just because, and this last part is just my suspicion because of the department that I worked for and the very strange hiccups that I would find. It would not surprise me if there was about 25% infiltration from other companies like Ford, Chevy.
Wow.
That are just there throwing monkey wrenches into it.
Wow. So it definitely sounds like there's some work to be done. They need to go through the people that work there, and
they need to do some house cleaning, but you can't go and just cut everybody, because then you have no base left. And obviously Tesla owners are very passionate about the product. They love the product. You can't oust them by not supporting them. And maybe they're doing exactly what I said, and maybe they're just cleaning house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Do you think the company grew too quickly maybe and was expected to ramp everything up so fast that they didn't have time for the proper training or hiring, and it's a result of all that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the mere fact that they have these weird redundant groups that are there, and I think they're trying to use those groups to make up for the fact that their training is horrible. So what they're doing is these micromanagers that you've heard about. Mm-hmm. It's an entire department of people who do nothing but analyze stuff. And they analyze things even when they don't have data to analyze. That was what killed me. And it's all these 20-something-year-old kids who, probably took a college course, bless their hearts, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So And I
Mhm.
couldn't control that, so I tried to go along with it. But the environment was not bad. The environment, management level was, I would give them, say, 25% of the managers were good managers. The other 75% were people who didn't know what they were doing, who didn't understand the product, who didn't understand the people that they were managing over, who didn't understand what they did. And it was really funny because they would try to micromanage when they didn't know what was really even going on. And it's like, if you would just let me save you a step and tell you how to do it, it would be done, and you would know how to do it, and it would be fine. But there's a hierarchy, and I don't know if it's intentional, but they definitely look down on people. Like, they sit up on their little pedestals, and they just look down.
Interesting. Well, that's a lot of this is new information for me. You know, I've read some reports, but honestly, it sounds worse than what I was expecting to hear. So I'm hoping that they can figure those out, make some changes, and go in the right direction. It'd be a shame.
Let me add one little piece of information, just so you understand. It's not always bad. But when it's bad, it's like crank it up to 10 level bad. So they really didn't have like a very decent gray area where you could just be like, okay, it's going to be better tomorrow. No, it was, the nuclear option was on the table like for a full week, and then it would go back to being, just low key and everything easy. And then it was like, oh no, everything's crazy again. So that's how it was. It was a definite roller coaster.
Mm-hmm. So were there any positive experiences that you could leave us on? Anything that you felt like the company was doing internally that was exceptional?
I'm a fixer, and I tried to fix systems all the time. They love their bureaucracy at Tesla. And whenever I would offer a suggestion or try to fix something, I would get reprimanded. So I can't say that there's a whole lot of positivity. I watched too many of my colleagues who were good people, who were the kind of people that Elon would probably actually like. Watch them all lose their jobs. It could be a fantastic company. It really could be. But they've got too many people who are just there for a paycheck, and they're more interested in visiting with their other, the supervisors were all kind of a clique, and it was really weird. It was like being in high school again. And they protected each other in their clique. I think you can imagine the awful feelings that this would give people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I'm getting a little upset even just talking about it. And I mean, I can tell you that I still believe in Elon's message. I still believe in the idea. It's a great idea. The product is great. I think if Tesla's out there watching, go micromanage the micromanagers. Go see what they actually know. I think you'll be horrified at how poorly they're taking care of your business.
All right. So I guess on that note, we'll end it because at Tesla at this point, you know, hopefully they're listening and they do take note of this, because we both love the company, we love the mission, and we want them to succeed. So this is kind of like tough love.
Yeah. Yes,
you know,
exactly.
Sometimes you have to hear the things that you don't want to hear to get to the next level. And I hope that Tesla, if you're listening, you're taking this as constructive criticism. And, you know, I think in order to fix the issues that customers are complaining about in terms of customer service, you got to fix internally these issues. And once that resolves, then I think a lot of the customer service issues will resolve, and and the company hopefully will be successful, and Elon's mission will continue, which is why we all love the company in the first place. All right, Tyson, thank you so much for joining us and telling us your truth, and kind of enlightening us to what it, you know, would be like to actually work for the company. So thank you.
I'll leave you on one last note. I loved with all my being telling people when they asked me what I did for a job that I worked for Tesla. That was one of the coolest things that I've ever been able to I worked for Tesla.
Yeah. You're part of it, right? You're part of the mission.
Yep. So on that, have a great day.
All right. Thank you.